Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Ecto. My name is Michelle. I'm going to be telling you two stories tonight. The first one is called The Abandon. It's not my story, it's a friend of mine's story. She was working in this hospital in Amarillo, Texas that is now abandoned and has been for years, but when she worked there, a lot of things went bump in the night, and it wasn't just her. Several people had stories of this place, but tonight I'll be focusing on her story. Then later on, it'll be a short story of mine that actually happened in the state of Connecticut when I worked there. It was a story about a man in the window. Lots of patients seen him, and unfortunately, one night I seen him. So anyways, I will be back in just a minute, and enjoy this song by Hallie Cook called Ghostly Fading.
Trying to find a little piece of heaven, and I
KBLP LLC. Check us out on iHeart, Speaker, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. With the best podcasters in the business. Denise Harris, Chris Stevens, Michelle Auger, Ike Diaz, Desiree Pickett, Anissa Nicole, Cecilia Flores, Lolita Diaz. Sponsored by TBs303.com. We are also looking for new podcasters. Inbox any of our podcasters or me, Ike Diaz, directly on Facebook, and someone will get back with you ASAP.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. This first story, welcome back to Ecto on KBLP LLC. Now on YouTube, we are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, we are kind of everywhere, so look us up. I always forget to do that little plug at the beginning. Now was telling me, don't forget to say it. Okay, so anyways, back to the stories here. The first story actually didn't happen to me, but it happened to a friend of mine in Amarillo, Texas. There's a hospital there that's almost like just practically right in the main part of town, which is really strange. There's still part of it that's open, but the main part where like most of the activity was happening is closed now. But I do know a nurse who was working there in the height of this place when all this was happening. She said that all kind just strange stuff. So you would see people walking down the halls. You would, call lights would go off. Nobody in the room. The water would turn on and off. All these things would happen, and people tried to do. I'm sorry, I'm reading off this. She said people would try to explain it away, but they couldn't. She said there was no explanation for any of this. She said when it got its worst, she said there was an abandoned unit at this hospital where they kept it chained up. It was like in the basement, which was right by their supply room. She said you would have to take almost like this service elevator down and she said take a right down the hall, and then you would see the abandoned unit in front of you that was chained up. And your supply room would be on the right-hand side down a short hallway. She said one night she had a list, and she went down there to get supplies. She said she had done it several times, and she never really believed in any of that, even though there was things she saw she couldn't explain. But she said she just really didn't believe it was ghosts, that it was just about anything but. So she said that she had gone down, she got supplies. She said that was the first time that night. She got the supplies. She thought she heard somebody walking up behind her. She said she turned around, there was nobody there. Now she's alone in this basement of this haunted hospital, okay? So she said she kind of gathered up her supplies really quick, and she just ran as fast as she could back to the elevator part. And she said the elevator kind of stalled out a little bit as it was going up. So she said she about had a panic attack. She said it was about all she could take at that point. So she gets up to the top, she takes her supplies, and she tells somebody what had happened. So they said that they wanted to get security down there just to see, make sure there was nobody there, because she thought she'd heard people walking. And the security came up and said, no, there's nothing there, So she said a few hours later, they were sitting there, and some of the girls were joking around about the ghosts in the place and how it was hard to keep people there at night because it was so haunted. And she just kind of ignored them, as, third shift, you kind of have to keep yourself awake, so you talk about anything and everything, including ghosts. So she said towards the end of the night, she had another list because she was the main nurse. She had to go downstairs to get these supplies. And she said that she had gone down there, and she said reluctantly, but she did it. So when she got down there, everything seemed fine. Everything was good. And it was a big list, so she had to get a cart. So she had to go around the corner and get this cart. And when she came back, she could have sworn she seen somebody standing on the other side of those chain doors. She said she stopped for a second, closed her eyes, and opened them again. Nobody was there. And she thought, well, I must be seeing things. There's nobody there. So she said she was gathering supplies. Let's see. She said it was several bandages and needles and things that we needed upstairs. She said I must have been there for a good about 5 to 10 minutes just getting things in and making sure I had all the right supplies. So I packed it all into the cart, and as I turned around, I heard a noise down the hall behind the chain doors. She said, I almost went into panic. She said, I ran to the elevator, but the elevator wasn't there. Somebody had called it back upstairs. Oh my God. Okay. She said, so I'm standing at the elevator. I'm pushing the button, wait for it to come back down. She said, and as I am, from behind me, I hear the doors rattling. I look back, I see nothing there, but I can see the doors moving. She says, and as I'm watching the doors, it's harder and harder. It looked as if somebody was pushing from the other side with all their might, trying to get out. I could actually see cracks in the door opening, but the chains would catch it from going up. As the elevator door opened, she said, from behind me, I heard, get the hell out of here, right by my ear. And she said, when the doors opened, 2 security guards came out of the elevator, and she was just beside herself. She said, I went into the elevator, went upstairs, and left the cart of supplies downstairs. And she said the security guards came behind her with the cart later on and asked her what happened, what is going on. And they said that they could hear somebody yelling as the elevator doors were opening. So they heard this, whatever this was, yelling at her. So she told them what happened. So they went downstairs, and they had unlocked the door to that unit. They went down, there was nobody there, and the door was locked on the other side. So there's nobody on that unit that was chained up. So she said that she had actually put in her 2-week notice after this because she couldn't take it anymore. She said about 6 nights later, another nurse had gone down there to get supplies. And she came back up, not the elevator, but she took the emergency stairs, which is, quite a hike up there. Said she came out of the stairwell, sweaty, freaking out, screaming that there's somebody down there. So the nurse that it originally happened to went down there with a few other people and the security guards. They go down there to see supplies all over the floor because apparently she got so freaked out she just threw the supplies and ran. And there was a mark on the wall that said, get the hell out of here. Said it was scratched into the wall. Looked like somebody had taken a key or something. So a few months after all these things had happened, where it escalated to that point, the place had closed down. As far as I know, it's still closed down. Because when I lived down there, you would drive by and you could just feel like this eerie feeling off this place. I mean, and it's a huge complex. And it's just abandoned. And anyways, it closed down, but a lot of the construction workers that go there that were trying to renovate this place would leave. Because when they were working, they would hear things, feel things, they were being touched. And it's been abandoned for years. Like I said, I don't know now, I haven't been there in about 1.5 years, but when I was there, it had been abandoned for a good 5 or 6 years. So, could you imagine? And another girl that had worked there before had told me one night she was sitting at the nurse's desk and she thought she heard one of her patients yell for help. She went down there, the patient was asleep. Then she said from right behind her, by her ear, she had heard, "You're too late." And she turned around and there was nobody there. But then they had found out a patient across the hall from the lady she thought had screamed had died that night. So it's like, could you imagine working in a place? I mean, I've worked in some places that were pretty haunted, and people, some of these places, people, a lot of people die in these places every year. So of course there's going to be energy and stuff, but it makes you wonder what kind of energy gets trapped that's where it's that prominent, where it can yell at you and touch you and etch things into walls. But this place is closed down, and they were trying to sell it as a commercial lot. I can remember this. And as far as I know, they still haven't sold it. I don't know, but like I said, it's been 1.5 years, so I'm not sure on that subject. But I know when you would drive by, it would just be just a creepiest ass feeling, just horrible. And when you actually would get off the road, you would like drive, because there was like a walkway that went to another part that's still open, but the walkway's closed because that other part they have it just totally pinned off. I guess they don't want anybody going there, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. That is just horrific. I couldn't even imagine, working where it was just that bad. Hi, Ike. How are you? Ike's in the chat room here. I don't know why I have such a delay on this thing. But yeah, so all these things were happening there, and one night, this was a few years back, some kids had snuck in there. I don't know how they got in, but they managed to get in. And when they came out, one of the kids wouldn't even talk about what they had seen in there. In fact, it was the nurse, the original one that had the, where she could hear like the chains going and all that, and the elevator was up. It was her sister's, I don't know, it was like daughter's friend, something ridiculous like that. But anyways, yeah, they had done this. Went in there, when they went out, the kids wouldn't even talk about it. So how creepy is that? That, and kids love to talk about things like that. So, but anyways, as far as I know, it's still there, and it's still not had been sold. So, I guess the stories are going to just continue with that place. Alright, I'm still battling a little bit of a chest thing here, or nasal, I don't know what the heck it is, but I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm going to take just a really short break here, and I will be back in just a couple minutes. It's seriously only be like 1 or 2 minutes, just so I can get me something to drink, and I'm going to tell you about a story that did happen in a place I worked. And I called it the man in the window because it is just, this one did kind of creep me out a little bit because it was never solved. So I'll be back in just a couple minutes. So enjoy this song by Big Quiet called Ghost.
When you see a ghost, it's not like you giving out to try to kill. Then I say I'm not about the ghost. I choose to live like the ghost. Regardless what I choose to live, the moment will live like the ghost. When you see the sea, it's not like me. Even I do. It's right out there. And I say I'm not about the sea. I will not let the sea take me. I will not get into that drink. From a really big
Okay, and I'm back. I'm sorry. I just need to get a quick drink. This next story suddenly happened in Connecticut. We had so now this is the nursing home that was set way back in the woods. Like, it was off of a main road, but there was a really long driveway, and it was kind of offset in the wood. It was surrounded by woods, and it was just kind of a creepy place to work in general. I mean, a lot of stuff had happened there, but one of them that really stands out is what I called the man in the window. We had several residents for about a week tell us that they seen a man outside their window, that he was standing there just watching them. And we would get in there, of course, and this whatever would be gone. We're like, I'm sorry, there's nothing there. We even called the police a couple times because some of the residents that told us that were really, they weren't all, had dementia, or whatever. They were of sound mind, I guess you could say. And we called the police, and the police came out. There was nothing, no footprints outside, and we kind of got to the point where we figured it was something like a ghost or a spirit, but we all just kind of ignored it. Kind of like if you ignore it, it'll go away type thing. So one night we had a few of them tell us that. And again, we just kind of blew it off like, yeah, whatever, So I had walked by one of the residents' rooms, and I looked in, and you could see directly into the room to the window, and I could see somebody standing out there. And I'm like, oh my God. So I went running in the room, and I don't know what made me turn on the light. It's just stupid, So I go, I turn on the light, and I run to the window. Of course, there's nobody there now. And I got that patient out of the room, and we called the police again. Nothing. There's nobody there. So then the workers that I'm with are like, oh, there was nobody there. You're just saying that to scare us. I'm like, no, I swear to you, I would not call the cops if I didn't see anything. So we sat around for a little bit. About 2 hours later, one of my workers that I worked with had gone to break. On her way out, she lets out this blood-curdling scream. We're like, what the hell? We go running down the hall. And she's standing there looking into this room. And you look over, and you could see there was a man on the outside just staring inside. He was just standing there with like this blank stare. And he was looking at the patients, not us, looking at the people in the room. And we're just like, oh my God. So we all go running back to the desk. Of course, we're grabbing weapons, staplers, whatever we can find. We're going to fight whatever this is. And we call the cops, and the cops come down again. There's nobody there, and there's no footprints. There's no sign of anybody had been there, standing there. Now, this is 3 of us who had seen this so far, plus the patients. So the cop, you can tell he was very frustrated with us, kind of like, there's nobody here, there's no sign. He kind of hinted around like when you work, when you're up and you're tired, that maybe, basically kind of was telling us we were kind of seeing things. And that maybe we kind of fabricated this because we were so tired type thing. Well, as he's walking out, we see him walking out, and we're kind of pissed off. We're like throwing daggers at his head with our eyes, just because just the implication that that he thought we would make this up. So as he's walking out down the hall, we see him look over, and he stops dead in his tracks. I mean, dead, and he's staring. All of a sudden, he takes out his flashlight, he flashes it in the room, and he takes off like a freaking jaguar. I mean, gone. So we're like, what the hell is going on? So I went running down the hall. I was like, what happened? He's like, stay here. So we're like, oh my God, okay. So he goes running outside. The next thing you know, he's like out. You see the flashlight out on the lawn and everything. And then pretty soon here comes 2 more cops and everything. He had seen this guy. On his way out, he looked over. He had seen this guy looking in the window. So as they're looking around, one of the girls that I'm working with, she kind of goes, oh my God, and she looks, and on the other side where the cops are looking, this guy's standing on the other side of the building. So we're like tapping on the window. I finally opened up one window. I'm like, he's on the other side. He's on the other side. So a couple of them go running over there. They never found anything. Never. No footprints, nothing. Now, this is the really creepy part about it. I mean, it was creepy enough as it is. But we had found out that night, one of our patients, her son, had gotten killed in a car accident. But what's weird about this is we had been seeing this for a while, and the patients had been seeing this for a while. But we found out that night when it had gotten really, really bad that one of the patient's son had been killed that night. So we looked at him in the paper, but it wasn't him. So we thought, well, what the hell is going on? It didn't even look like the guy. So we started getting regular cops driving through, just because, the cop had seen it. And the last time we had seen the guy, the very last time, we had right around to the back. It was in the back of the hall, then where we had like these emergency doors. And one night I looked out and I could see this face in the window, and I just like freaked out. I'm like, I am done with this. So I kind of went charging towards the door. I wasn't going to go outside, but I wanted to get a close up look at it. But as I got closer, he just kind of disappeared. It's like, all right. So then a couple hours later, one of the nurses I work with, she screams because she sees this guy standing outside the window. So we call the cops. We're like, all right, we got to get them back here. Something's going on. Well, when the cop had got there, he had taken, I guess you could say, the right around the building. And when another cop had shown up, his backup, he seen a guy walking into the woods. So he gets out and I guess, gets on his radio. Oh, the guy's in the woods. So they go and they go into the woods, and unfortunately they had found a homeless person who had died in the woods. And it had nothing to do with our nursing home, and nothing to do with anything. And apparently he had been there a while. He was like really deep into the woods. And you could tell it was somebody, I guess, that had been there a while. Like they had like a little tent set up, and it was like way deep in the woods. So apparently, I mean, this is just my take from it, is that this man had passed away, and he was trying to get somebody to find him. And they did. So, but I mean, God bless the guy, but that was just so weird how he started showing up, and we never saw him again after that. After they had found him, we never saw him again. We never saw the man in the window. So it's just wild. It makes you, how we can communicate from beyond, or if there's a way to do it. So that was in Connecticut. That one was, and the other one was, the first one was the abandoned hospital in Amarillo, and the second one was in a nursing home in Connecticut. So, but yeah, it's so wild just how things like that can happen, just. But yeah, the guy died from natural causes. There was no, that they said he was just older and was just homeless. And I guess they had seen the guy around town before. But I guess he found a place in the woods and just passed away peacefully. But he wanted someone to find him. So this was years ago. So yeah, just odd to think that we kept seeing this person, and the patient saw him, and the cops saw him, everybody saw him. It was like, but that was weird, is because, it was the woods, and it was always moist there, and there was dirt outside, and there was never footprints. So it was just the strangest thing, but I'm really glad that they resolved it, and everything. They gave him the nursing home itself, they paid for a really, for a funeral for this guy and for him to be buried. So I thought that was really nice. But yeah, just strange things happen. You never know in life, So, but anyways, okay. Right now we got to get to business here. Tonight, Ike Diaz is going on a little bit early because I don't know why, but he's going to be doing the jam right after I'm done here because he wants to go on a little earlier tonight. So, see, I got to it, Ike. He's going to be on and doing the jam tonight. And I don't know if Denise Harris is going on later on tonight or not, but I'm pretty sure she'll be on tomorrow with either DWD or American Horror Story, one of them. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. She's going to be doing American Horror Story. And Monday we're going to be doing Planet B.O.B., Planet B period O period B period. We're going to be talking about, again, not just fall planning, but planning for winter. Just things that people need to be doing now before it gets here, because I don't know if you've watched the news lately or heard anybody talking, but they're saying this is going to be one of the worst winters that we've had in a while in the north. So if you're around with snow and anywhere where it snows, they're saying even in the south that the temperatures are going to drop in the south this year. That, I don't know how they know this stuff, but apparently they do. And don't forget, hypothermia kicks in way before like a freezing mark. So just everybody needs to be prepared now. So listen in for Planet B period O period B period Planet B.O.B. And we will be on and we'll be talking about some stuff. And hopefully this week I can get the skits going and we can make Denise our Kenny this week. So anyways, yeah, we're going to be, and a lot of good stuff is coming up at KBLP LLC. There'll be sports that night, too. Denise will be doing The Walking Dead pretty soon, which I'm so excited for the premiere. Don't forget Lolita's Jams. We have so many things going on, so. And don't forget, too, you can go down to the episode guide and get past episodes and look at them and listen to them. There's some... It's funny to go back and listen to some of the stuff. Because, like, even before I joined KBLP LLC, you can tell, like, when Denise first started, you can tell she was so nervous. And now she's just, like, she gets on, like, just like, yeah, whatever, you know? Like, before, like, in old episodes, like, if she coughed or something, you could tell she's embarrassed. Oh, God, I can't believe it. I'm so sorry. She'd be appalled. Now she'd be like, yeah, I'm battling pneumonia. I don't care. You know, I'll just listen anyways. So, yeah. But anyways, definitely listen in. And I'm going to get off here now so I can get on here and get the jam going. And you guys definitely listen in, scroll through the old episodes, and you all have a wonderful night. Enjoy your Saturday. Be safe. Remember, if you're drunk, get an Uber, get something. Don't drive drunk. Anyways, and use your heads. We'll talk to you later. You all have a good week, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye.